Okay, friends, we are officially starting, and so I'm putting on my artist's scarf and my artist's
Oh,
beret. All
look
right,
at that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
You couldn't look any more authentic.
because right now that I'm going to take paints, you think I'm going to get this dirty or my white shirt dirty? I'm going to look like artists look in the 20th century, like disheveled, poor, grimy people. And this beret, I'm going to waste a beret on a paint. Okay, there you get to see me. And our topic is what?
Resurrection.
Correction.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So our opportunity here is that you speak and I paint. Your words become brushstrokes. And the creative process means we don't know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty. We are going into the unknown on a topic that this is a conversation. And in a conversation, as you know, if you talk to yourself, well, you can develop. But if you talk with other people, especially people of spirit and intelligence, then you discover things you couldn't on your own. Would you agree? What was your first thought when I said the word resurrection a minute ago?
Well, for me, my first thought is Christ is risen. He's risen indeed. But that's because I'm a Christian. That's the first thing I think of. And I believe it. I absolutely believe it with all my heart.
My first thought as well goes there. And I decided to go more personal after that and think about a time in my life that I believe is almost my rebirth and my resurrection from an old me to a new me.
Is that relevant to everyone here?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Well, my first, as I thought about that earlier, and even when you said it now, my first thought with that word is life. You know what it means to me, and what Wolf just said, talking about that moment, I guess. And it's one of those. It's like our birth date, being born into the world, but also my birth date of, I guess, what I would call my resurrection, and being baptized is February 22nd, 2009, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful thing, and sometimes for me hard to put into words, but. Yeah, mainly like I said, it's when I hear that word, I think about life and knowing that I'll have eternal life. And as Lee just said, there's no doubts about that, none at all.
So, what do we need to add to this to create resurrection?
I believe you have to add the Savior to that.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to make him like a stick figure, or do we want to create him as something spiritual?
That's interesting because it's right at the crux, right? It's no longer the physical body, stick figure. It's now spiritual.
I agree. Matter of fact, you can't have a resurrection until you've been immersed into something. Like Christ was immersed into suffering on the cross, from which he died and from which he raised. So you have to suffer first, and then you can be resurrected, is my point.
All right, we're going to put all the suffering here.
Yeah.
So we can move up. What color is suffering?
In this case, it would have to be red.
Yeah.
Red. Is that enough? Do we need more? We can really fill the whole, we can make lots of suffering. And I can make the suffering rhythmic. So you really feel that. Does that begin to suffer? Well, the red makes us feel pain, doesn't it?
I think you need some darkness.
No. Yeah. I
Oh,
was muted.
Yeah.
Darkness.
okay. Some darkness. Let's have some darkness.
Usually, when you're experiencing pain, you're in a dark place. A dark place mentally or emotionally, right?
Yeah.
This is closed. That to me is more suffering. When something is closed, we can make a lot of closed places filled with suffering, like in prison. Does that begin to feel more suffering than it was before?
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm I look that way when my mind is empty.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good beginning. That's a great
Yeah.
beginning.
But I will say this that this suffering that we're talking about here is different from the suffering in some sense that we go through in our when our own sins kind of destroy our lives. This is suffering of an innocent man, and for some reason I'm thinking about that way. I'm not the innocent one. I'm the one that had to get out of those enclosed areas that I couldn't find a way out. Uh, and that innocent man opened the door for me.
There's a man. Let's make it a bigger, universal man. Is he standing outside the suffering? Do we need to put him into the suffering?
Where are we catching him in this phase? Is he now risen
That's
and
for you
which is
to choose.
above the suffering? And now are we going to end up, immersing ourselves into this as the ones who are suffering, and he's the one going to be releasing us
Ah,
from our
so
pain?
which do you choose? Is this man in the suffering, or he just came out of the suffering? To
I'll
me, it
defer
looks
to.
like he came out because the prisons are
Yeah.
behind. All the suffering is behind.
Yeah, this man that is out is the one that was redeemed by the one who suffered. He's
So
not
this man
suffering.
was. This is redeemed by someone else.
Yes, yes,
Mm,
and
yeah.
he's redeemed by the one that's going through the suffering on the cross.
And what color would you paint the person who is going through the suffering on the cross?
Suffering was more than blood.
Yeah. So what color shall we make the person who has suffered but is pure? And he has redeemed this person, right?
Uh, his color is white. Now, I'm not talking about his physical color.
His aura,
I'm
his
I'm
spirit,
talking yes, I'm talking about his purity.
purity.
In all that I've ever seen, white is the essence of purity. When I was in the Navy, the hardest uniform in the world for me to keep clean was my whites. Really hard. And I think that's the reason why white is the color of purity.
Yeah, very difficult to remain pure.
Yes. But Jesus did it. That's why he's white.
This is the pure man whose purity allows this man to be redeemed from the suffering.
But at this point in time, the white man is suffering. The pure
So,
man is suffering. The pure
okay,
man.
we will show that this pure man is suffering.
He had a crown of thorns on his head because the people he was saving ridiculed him. See, they mocked him, called him the king.
Shall we make him a crown?
He was called in three languages. He was called the king of the Jews.
What color should his crown be?
Yellow.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the yellow's not a good color. I don't know. I did, but maybe that's not a good idea.
No, you have to realize we are not working with the conscious here. We're working with the subconscious.
On Scott, that's a halo on Scott there.
Sunset coming in.
Sure.
I think if you, to me, the crown if, in this representation should be more just scraggly and brown and harsh and rough.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you.
That's the crown that was placed upon him at that time, and also to maybe further represent him as maybe some purple to show the
Yeah.
royalty, and the
I
fact
agree.
that he was the king.
Yeah. Purple. Yeah.
Purple. Sounds good.
What do you? Yeah.
Purple. Where should we? Is it a cloak? Is it an aura? Where do we put the purple?
Kind of an aura around him, the representation of the mindfulness.
Does that look purple?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it says purple on the can, but
Looks
it's-
purple.
Let's give him some more aura.
Yeah, there should be a lot. Represents the stamina, of what he was going through.
Here we have the pure man who's suffering and has an aura of kingliness. Yes?
King of Kings. Yes.
And here we have the man representing those who are impure, and yet they have been, through this man, released from their suffering. Is that it?
That's right.
Right. What's the symbolism of us painting this picture of the pure man who is releasing the impure from suffering? Yes? Did I get it right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
in the meantime, because if you'll stop eating after this meal, you'll be eating the Last Supper while we paint resurrection. What else? What else? Is there anything missing here?
There is something missing. It's time
Yes, tell me.
that Christ cried out and he asked God a question. He said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And then he died, and we buried him. And everybody thought the story was finished. They thought the problem had been solved. It's all over.
Shall we add what he said?
Yeah.
I'm from that part of Asia. I can actually know the words and how to write it in the original script. You want me to?
Do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. What color should we write the script? We've used purple for kingliness. Orange that glows, or blue.
How about blue? Because
Yeah, there you
blue
go.
is associated with sadness, right? When you're blue, and we're talking about why have you forsaken me? This is not a happy moment. It's questioning.
Blue, yeah.
And
Well, blue is also the firmament, right? It's the heavens, blue.
yeah, so we could have double meaning here.
What do you think, Scott?
I agree with that. I agree. I think blue more so when you mentioned orange, and I understand the glow of that, but I believe blue's a bolder. It's a bolder color, and it to me makes a bolder statement, which is exactly what this is.
I agree.
Everyone here has a personal experience, right? So whatever is true for you. I'm going to write it in Hebrew script.
That's very nice. That's very impressive.
That's Hebrew script. Eli lama azavtani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Are we getting anywhere? Is this worth it? Am I losing you, or are we entering something?
Well, the question that he cried out
Yes.
was not for God to hear. It was for us to hear and contemplate. And I know why. I know why Christ was forsaken on the cross. God could have saved him anytime he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Christ was his son. He had every reason in the world to want to save him, but he wanted to save me and everybody else like me, the sinners in the world. So he forsook him. And the question was a question that was asked 2,000 years ago, and we still hear it today. Why? And when I look at the reasons why, I look at all the things I did and why I should have been on the cross instead of him, makes me feel different. When I realize that I don't have to be on the cross, I'm free from all those things because Christ was willingly going to the cross. Nobody forced him there. That's what it means to me.
So then, why did he say that? How does that fit into what you've said?
Well, the reason he said it was to make me aware of that my sins have been paid for. I'm forgiven. That doesn't mean that it means that I have to change my life because somebody gave up theirs for me to be able to do so. And it was not just an ordinary person who did that. We're looking at, from my perspective, of course, as a Christian, we're looking at the Son of God who suffered for ordinary men like me. How can I possibly not change myself? I can't ignore the fact that he was forsaken for me and everybody else, but especially I pay attention to myself.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
See, I don't understand how his saying, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" is connected to you being saved by him. Why would he have to say that?
Well, he didn't have to say it, but he did say it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. He didn't have to say it. He could have died. He could have just simply died like everybody else and never said anything.
Mm-hmm.
There were people who were watching this crucifixion. This was not done in a corner. It was done in the very sight of all of the public in that area. Not just the Jews. Roman soldiers standing around everywhere. They were all looking at him up there, watching him suffer. Some of them ridiculing him while he suffered. They had already beaten him, spat on him, beat him in the face, slapped him, mocked him, pretended he was a king of the Jews and kneeled down before him and all of that, put a crown on his head and nailed him to a cross brutally. He didn't have to say anything, but he did. And the reason I'm paying attention to it is because he was up there for my sake. And I think that's the reason he asked the question. Because you see, he already knew the answer. He just wanted me to know it. Well, not just me, but everybody like me.
Right.
Whoever those people are, you know.
Does it fit you, Scott? What what Lee said?
Yeah, it does. And as we've been talking about it, I've been really kind of trying to study on that. And for me, as I've thought about it, I believe that it leads to, as this event was going on, they ridiculed him, as Lee said. And if I remember correctly, I believe they stated that, why doesn't your God save you? Because he preached everywhere about God, and if I remember that correctly, and I may not, but
You're right.
I believe that to be so. And I think that was part of the why he said that at that time, because as Lee also said earlier, when that happened, when the crucifixion happened, they all thought it was over. But also, I think in saying that, and then as we go 3 days later, and he's risen, I just think that has a tremendous impact then, because at that point, then to me, as people truly see the purpose and the power of God, and I want to say of this God, as the way they looked at it, that they were mocking and ridiculing 3 days prior. Why doesn't your God save you? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't know if I explained that very well, but
I agree with you, Scott. I agree with you, Scott. I think when we get to the part of the resurrection, that's where we find out that God did not really forsake him after all.
exactly. That's it. That's the point exactly. At that moment, everybody has this big question, and it's like it doesn't make sense at that moment in a way.
Right.
But as we travel through to 3 days later, and then it's answered. I believe.
Exactly.
Then the answer.
Exactly. I agree, Scott. Yes.
I
Thank
think
you. Thank you for that. That's exactly right.
yeah. I was having a hard time getting the words there, I guess, but that's how I see that, how I understand it.
Yeah, well, when you're talking with someone who is listening to you and has an approach to the exact thoughts that you are seeking words for, then you get the benefit of someone who's listening and maybe can complete your sentences.
Exactly. Yeah. Very much.
That's very generous of you, Scott. And Lee, you just helped someone.
I think he was helping me. It's the other way around.
Yes, isn't that true?
It was full circle.
Full
Yeah.
circle.
You needed Scott in order to get that thought and work with it. And then in order to actually say it to Scott, you had to put things together that connect dots that you might not have had connected before.
Yeah.
Is that your experience, Lee? That something came out that surprised you in its clarity that you didn't have before?
Yeah, it was clarity that I might not have had before. I'd say not surprising though, but
No,
clarity. Yeah,
not surprising.
not surprising.
So what should we add that we could call this a painting about resurrection?
Well, maybe we should talk about that resurrection. You got to remember now, this resurrection was not done in a corner either. This crucifixion was public. It was brutal. It was public. It was brutal. It was vicious. It was filled with hate. But the man hanging there, the innocent man hanging there, his heart was full of love.
Mm.
And everybody that was ridiculing him, calling him all the names, cursing him, they watched him die and they were proud of it. They thought it was all over. And it appeared that God had forsaken him. But Jesus had not forsaken his mission because his heart was full of love and everybody around him was full of hate. And I want to say this, that when they buried him, they thought they were done with this thing. 3 days later, he was resurrected. And from that day on, the world changed. I am telling you, the wickedness of the world that Christ was living in changed. From that day to this, people now consider such brutal punishments awful, don't they?
Yeah.
But before his resurrection, they didn't think so. They thought it was good. That resurrection changed everything. And to this day, it changes people. It's a miracle.
Yeah. It's an enduring thing.
And are you enjoying this this spiritual meal that you're listening to?
I am. This is great. Both of them helped me.
How did they help you?
In my perspective, my understanding, looking at that situation, I wasn't, I don't on a normal basis think about that. There's times when you want to stop and think about it, and it's not something that happens very often. That's why this event tonight is tremendous. But to have, the insights of others who have experienced different things, have studied the Bible definitely more than I have, and so forth. Not that I'm not familiar with this story, this event that occurred on our behalf, but it was great to hear them talk through and go full circle, as we said, starting down one road and leaving a little open, and then having Scott kind of close it. No, it's been very helpful in my perspective, my perception.
So do we have to add anything here to make this a picture of resurrection, or we don't have to make it a picture of resurrection if what came up on this day of Easter, it resurrected certain thoughts?
Yeah.
And right? It doesn't have to be, this could be the stimulant for thoughts that resurrected.
Well, as Lee pointed out, the world changed from that moment on in many ways, I'm sure, but as he pointed out, those ways. So how do we depict here change? What do we want on this canvas to represent the change in the world as a result of this resurrection? That's my question. I don't know what the answer is yet.
It is hard to think of what kind of symbol represents the resurrection. We have a symbol that represents the crucifixion. I wear it around my neck all the time. I keep it in front of me all the time. There's a cross. And the cross has a tendency to symbolize all of it, every bit of it. But if I thought about the actual coming forth out of the grave to a new life, I don't know what would symbolize it. But I do know that when I see the cross, I see the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Christ. When I was baptized, I died to my sins. I was buried in the water with Christ, and I was raised up to walk a new life. And that the waters of baptism represented the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. So those are a couple of symbols that I have in my mind that represents the whole story. But I can't think of a physical symbol that represents just the resurrection.
May I try something? Now, there's a movement upward. I'll strengthen it. Can you feel that there's something moving up?
Yeah, but it doesn't stand out enough. What if you included some yellow, sort of the light of God?
Yeah.
Can you see more now?
Yep, it's a little more prominent.
Is that better?
Yeah.
You feel that something's moving up.
So we have the pain, the suffering. We have the pure man. We have the resurrection of him rising. Ourselves up here, being the sinners being redeemed. We still need to add an element somewhere that represents change, to represent the change that has taken place in the world. Now, the only thing I can think of that truly is generally used around the world to represent change and transformation is the butterfly. And perhaps you could use the orange that you were going to use before that has that glow, that perhaps an energy, a positive energy of change throughout the world.
Scott, what do you think?
I was just sitting here thinking that is amazing. Actually, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that is it's perfect. Yeah, I was speechless there for a moment, to be honest with you. But I thought that was just spot on. I think it's an excellent representation.
I agree. I agree also. You know, the butterfly is such a gentle, a gentle creature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Floats smoothly, softly, calmly, but effectively. The butterfly, we've often, I don't know if you've heard this before, the concept of some butterfly flutters its wings, changes the whole
Oh
world
yeah, the
somewhere.
butterfly. Yeah,
The
it's a
butterfly
butterfly.
effect. Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about? And
Uh-huh.
that's why I like it, is because of that very thing. That the butterfly, nothing that you do in this world is meaningless. It all has
Insignificant. Yeah.
its impact. Impact. You can't move your finger, technically speaking, without affecting the world in some way.
Yeah.
And the butterfly affects the world in change, but it's a change from the old world was full of cruelty. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we really realize how cruel the world was before Jesus came. I don't think we really even grasped just how brutal the world was. I mean, we talk in terms of laws now. Back then, they didn't care much. If it weren't for the Jewish people, there wouldn't be hardly any law that mattered. I mean, they had some laws, but it was all just kind of thrown together to be able to coexist. They didn't care about each other. They were just trying to hang out together for some kind of mutual benefits, but they didn't really care. When Jesus came, the world changed. Now we operate on the principle of love and not hate. Now I know it's hard to believe me say that when we see some of the things we see in the world now, but I'm just saying, in comparison to the old world, we have a foundation of love that the old world didn't have, because the
Right.
example of Jesus, someone who loved enough to give his own life for us. And our whole society is wrapped around that in the United States, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the world, too. Even when our soldiers go out to fight for our country, they don't go out there because they hate the enemy. They don't even know him. They go out there because they love the people they're protecting. That's different from the way they went to war many years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago, they went to war, sure, purely for conquest. No other reason. They didn't go to protect anything. They went to take.
To take.
Now we fight to protect because we love. The whole concept is different from the time that Christ died on that cross, was buried, and came out of the grave and showed himself to people that couldn't deny that he came out of the grave. That's why I like your butterfly example.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a yellow or orange. What did you say? You said yellow, didn't you, Wolf?
I said orange, but
Orange. All
it's
right.
up for interpretation. It could also be both.
Well,
It could be a combination.
It certainly could. The what are they called? The viceroy? No, what's the butterfly that's orange and black?
Monarch.
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 And there you
Yeah.
go. The monarch,
Monarch.
it is
And the monarch is very fitting.
yes,
I'm
King
sorry.
of Kings.
Yes.
There we
Yes.
go.
How about if we brighten up
it.
this we brighten up this area with a
Yeah.
butterfly?
Okay, yes.
Let's do it.
I have a beautiful orange here.
Start one rung higher.
Here.
Up here, up there, and up into the space above it. Yes.
So in this area.
Yes, right there, because it comes out of the suffering.
Yes.
We now enter this new transition of love from the gentle butterfly.
I like it.
It's the gentle. It's because this is all about love. That's what was
Yes.
brought, right? That
Right,
love
right.
in the world. So the butterfly has to be the symbol.
That's right. And you know, the funny thing is, nothing is more powerful on the face of this earth than love. Nothing.
Want it bigger?
What could be expanded around it is a yellow aura of the light that was now shed upon earth because of the love.
An aura of yellow.
Yes.
Here it comes. The aura of yellow. This guy, I'm going to get a special yellow. Yellow. Ooh. Can you see the aura?
I can.
Should we have it go in this direction and this, or is it just up here?
Oh, it could go in the other directions as well. A little aura there, because that aura, that love, that light is everywhere, right?
Well, this is the light that's shining past the suffering.
Exactly. And in fact, you can endure any suffering through the love and light of Christ.
Well, he's got a lot of aura there.
Well, it was a powerful act.
Yeah. It's very powerful. Actually.
You know, when you talk about butterfly effect, you know,
Yeah.
that was some serious catalyst for the ripples that go across the world.
Across the world. You see that that transformation that took place in those disciples that were, while Christ was in the grave, they were running and hiding and scared. That transformation that took place when they saw the Lord alive, they totally changed. They became bold, brave, courageous, stood in the face of death and destruction. They didn't care. They stood up with love. They didn't respond with hate. And they went into the world with the gospel that Jesus died, buried, and raised again. Changed the world. 12 men, 12 ordinary men, not scholars, ordinary guys. I think Paul came along later, and he was the closest thing to a scholar that any of them were. And all of them died except one. All of them were killed because they would not deny that Christ raised from the dead. Only one of them lived a natural and died a natural death, and that was John. And John lived to take care of Jesus' mother, who lived with her. She lived with him in Ephesus until she died, and he died a natural death. But the rest of them died, some in the same way Jesus died. Peter was crucified upside down. Paul was beheaded. James was beheaded. These people did not change that story because it wasn't a lie. It was not an imagination. It was not a dream. It was the real deal. It's the real deal. And it was not done, I repeat this one thing, it was not done in a corner. It was done in front of the entire world. All they had to do to prove that Jesus didn't raise from the dead was go out there to that graveyard and roll that stone back and haul a dead body out if they wanted to. But they didn't do it. And the reason they didn't do it is because the body wasn't there, and the body wasn't there because it was raised. Nothing in this world has made more impact on the face of this earth than the resurrection of Christ. Nothing.
Do you see your butterfly?
I do. It's a wonderful butterfly with a tremendous aura.
Yeah, I like it.
Do we need anything else, or we now have it, the whole story, as it's been discussed here? Does this express and contain what we have talked about?
I believe so.
I believe it does.
I think it does. Yep, it does.
All right, so we're going to auction it off. Does anyone want to put this on the wall?
It's an incredible painting. Would probably have more meaning to any of us than someone else.
Well, you are. I am just the hands, but you are the creation of this. Was this worthwhile for you? A 1 hour?
Very
It was-
much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So let's go around. Scott, what's the question I would ask you is, how did this enrich you? This hour together painting this.
To sit around and to discuss this with other people, it for me is the biggest takeaway, due to the fact that I was raised that this is something you don't talk about.
Really?
I can remember at a very young age being told you don't discuss money, politics, or religion.
Yeah.
And that was after I was probably a young teenager, and I'd come home and told a story about where I got into a discussion of pretty much all three of those things with another family. And it didn't get ugly or anything, but just doing that. And I was told then, you don't ever talk about those things. And that stuck with me a lot and pretty hard. So to be able to sit here in this format with all of you and discuss this has been very rewarding for me as we, discussed our different views and connected things. I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate your presence, and I'm sure our two other fellows feel it as well. Lee, Commander.
Yeah, I would. I would like to agree with Scott because I grew up. We live in a country that's supposed to be a place where we have freedom of speech. We can say anything we want to say. But I too was told, you don't talk about politics and religion.
Yeah.
And but I broke away from it, of course, because I was always a bit stubborn. Well, stupid and stubborn, So when somebody gave me good advice, I usually ignored it and paid a price for it. But because it dawned on me one day that probably the three most important subjects in your life is money, politics, and religion, and not in that order. In my order, it would be religion, money, and politics last. And the only one that I would probably want to just not discuss at all is politics. And that's the one that everybody else makes more important than the rest.
Yeah.
But for me, this was really good to be able to sit down and talk with people freely about a religious subject that's very important to the world. Because if what we have just been talking about is true, and I really do believe it is, then it's the most important thing in the face of the world, of this earth, that we should talk about. And we need to be out there talking about it to everybody in a kind, loving, respectful way. But this change, the change that this world needs, has been taking place because of Christ. And if we want to make it better, we got to talk about it to everybody, even if it puts us at risk of somebody being mad at us. I learned a long time ago that I don't shut up because somebody's going to be mad.
Yep.
I've never made a decision in this world that everybody liked. Never have. And I never will. There's no such thing as avoiding controversy. Just the fact that I'm alive is controversial. If you think about it, there are people in this world that like to see me dead. If you don't believe me, just check out the Muslims that we were fighting in in Lebanon when we were over there. Hmm? You think they would like to see me dead? I guarantee you they would. We fired into the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon back in 1984, 83 and 84 in response to the Marine Corps bombings and all that. And yeah, there's people that want us dead just because we are who we say we are. Think about it. There are people that literally hate some of us just because of who we are and what we believe. And that's the reason our parents told us to don't talk about those things, because they didn't want us to get hurt.
Yep.
I
Very true.
really think that, is that right?
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Yeah. They didn't want us to get hurt. But and it was good advice if you don't want to get hurt. But if you want to make the world a better place, my opinion is you got to tell people about this story. And that's kind of what this whole conversation has done for me, it gives me hope that we won't be so shy about saying, I believe Jesus Christ raised from the dead. I don't hesitate. And I don't require everybody else to believe me either, agree with me either. If they disagree, that's perfectly okay. I'm happy to hear the reasons why they disagree. They have every right to. God himself would not take away that right. So let everybody have their say, but I'm not going to put tape on my mouth.
Well, you know that I, who don't believe as you do,
Yeah, I know.
I have always encouraged you to speak your belief.
Yes. That's one good thing I want to say about, if I want to say something good about Nietzsche, is that he always talked to me with kindness and love and respect and all kinds of things, even though I was running my mouth about Jesus Christ the whole time. And he's my Jewish friend, and he doesn't hate me because of it. And I really, really appreciate it.
What I sense in every human being is whether they have good intentions or not. I don't care what they believe. We're never going to agree, all of humanity. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you behave, whether you live a life of respect for human life and love of human beings. All the rest, I've been listening to your beliefs, all three of you, and I have nothing. There's nothing inside me that says, "Oh my God, that can't be true." I'm not even interested in having a discussion. Was it true? And are you right? And it's not worth it anyway, because I'm never going to convince a person who's living his life according to a particular belief. All I want is, don't kill me, and then believe what you want. And if you are living, if the light comes, I keep sending you, Lee, This Little Light of Mine, that song,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you have a light inside and you can let it shine, that's all that matters to me. And I don't feel out of place in this conversation, listening to your beliefs, whether they align with mine or not. What I get is this, the light that comes out of you, and however you make it, I love it.
Well, and that's.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, finish your sentence.
Oh, I was just going to say that's fair enough, because honestly, the very Savior we were talking about here came to this world as a Jewish man, and he brought us salvation. And Nitzan, the way you allow us to be free to say what we want and think is impressive, and I guarantee you, you will never see me speak a word against any person because
Yes, I know.
everybody needs
Right.
needs the I think everybody needs the message we talked about today, but that's my belief. They all need it. But the most important thing is we all have love and concern and care for each other. And one day we'll all see what's true.
Amen. Wolf.
Yeah, well, I will try to build on some of that because everything that both Scott and Lee have voiced, I would go quite along with, as my impression. But there's a few things that you brought up that made me think of something here. Is right the differences that we have in beliefs and all. That's necessary. That type of thing is necessary for us to practice the love and forbearance, and patience with each other. Because, they say everyone wants to be a frogman on a sunny day.
Yeah.
Right? The true test of a man's character, it doesn't come through when everything's great. So in life, if we never come across a person who thinks differently, who acts differently, who's challenges us in another way, never gives us that opportunity to have and show patience, love, in spite of our differences, and to grow. That's the only way we can continue to grow, is to be challenged that way. It speaks a lot to who we all are here, that we come together and can have this kind of conversation and share. One of the things that I love about this, and it didn't have to even be about resurrection tonight. It could be any other day about something else. I love the process of collaboration.
Yeah. That's the point.
I find that when I can sit and come up with all sorts of interesting ideas and try to develop it, but I love to see something develop out of nothing when I sit down with 2-3 people and we just start a little conversation and someone brings something up and then we start building on it. In fact, I'm doing that right now with my daughter. We are on a little project writing a screenplay.
Nice.
For me, that's I have a lot of projects, and some of them are intended as my other career to eventually turn into something financially beneficial. And I do have hopes, there's something could happen with this. But I decided to entertain her with this because I'm using it as an opportunity on a regular basis to get together and spend time with her. So for me, it's the quality time with my daughter. But the process is fun because out of nothing, we're building a story, and one person says something and it triggers something in you, and you're like, oh, that's great. And if we do that, we can do this. That's the kind of feeling I get anytime I collaborate with open-minded people. And that's us here tonight, taking this time out of our busy lives to enjoy this, and increase our own bonds with each other and to just enjoy this moment. So that's what I'm taking away from it.
Beautiful. A question. Did it add to the conversation and to your thought process that we were making all those thoughts visual?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I would have to say being able to visually see it, and sometimes that's the stuff that strikes it, because you might see that blank space in the canvas and it'll spark something needs to be there. What is it? Now
it may.
talk about it.
Yeah, it also. I agree with you, Wolf. It made me stop and think about why we have symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because when we're trying to make this picture, we're trying to come up with what symbolizes, what's going to express this thing we're talking about here. And that was a challenge for me. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
uh, uh, symbols is like a small thing that explains a whole lot, tells a
Yeah.
whole story all by itself. That's why I think art is expressive like that. And
Sure.
uh, that was hard for, I don't know about you guys, but that's a little bit hard for me. Um, but it makes me understand why, like in my case, my mother gave me a cross years ago, back when I was 17 years old, which was a long time ago, guys. But, but as a matter of fact, I don't show up on Saturdays for my birthday because my age. You end up doing 73 burpees, and
Yeah, not fun.
Bring in a
not
pinch hitter.
but I will say this, that cross has symbolized the whole thing for me, all of it. Um, and I didn't realize how important a symbol is.
Mm.
Now I understand why we have symbols.
And,
I,
and,
I
and
really
I'll,
do.
I would add to the fact is when you are not just having a discussion, it changes everything. When you start to say, how would we visually depict this? Right?
Yeah,
What we're talking about are concepts. And of course, we go to symbols because that's the best way. But it it forces a different way of articulating the ideas. You have to take the ideas you're thinking and talking about, but try to boil that down into something that's represented on the screen, on the canvas.
yeah,
So it is a huge element that changes the whole conversation. The fact that that Nitsan, you're actually creating this for us with your painting skills. Without that, it would have been the four of us sitting down to discuss, and the discussion would have went much differently.
Yeah. And the fact that it's now finished and all the conversation, instead of it being about words only, it begins to be what's lacking in the picture? What do we want to put in the picture? What color should it be? Where should we put it? And and then as I apply what you say, then you say, no, it needs more of this, or we have to do that. And you can't do that with words. So it's a game to play, which stimulates us in a way that just conversation doesn't. And then at the end, if there's a conversation, yeah, it was good. But with this, there's something finished that contains the whole thing. And when I send you the video, as you see it, as you watch again and you see how it's been step by step creating from a cave, Scott, to get a sense of the cave. So it's very, it's a story that develops, and you get to, once the conversation's gone, it's gone. But you now can go, if you just take a still of a photograph and put it somewhere on your phone or wherever on your computer, and you keep looking at it, you will recreate the whole process, and you'll be able to look at details in the picture, and you'll say, I know why we put that in. And that will ignite a whole segment of the conversation. So it's a record of what we did together.
And that brought up a good thing. If you were to step aside, I'm going to do a screenshot.
Well, I'll do better because you've got this Nissan Gable. Who needs him? I'll send you. I will do a screenshot without all this stuff, and I'll send it to you together with the links.
Oh, perfect.
Right?
Excellent.
Well, my friends, thank you very much. It's really an honor, and I I enjoyed being an outsider, guiding the conversation. And I was brought up. I talked about everything, and I got lots of arguments, and I was. It's just what you have to do in life if you want to stand for something. And people are already hating me, so you know, I don't know. My parents never taught me. Actually, they did frighten me about talking about certain things, but we have an opportunity in life to connect with people, and it's not worth arguing, but it is the need we have to connect with another human being, right? And not just sports or the weather, but the deepest things is the religion. The deepest thing that a person has, not all the slogans that people shout at each other when they shout in not a conversation, but just slogans in politics, and they don't listen to one another. But to really explore what is the deepest belief or doubt of a human being is, to me, the most interesting conversation. I don't need all the slogans. And if a person is willing to have that conversation, that's such a deep connection with another human being. So I appreciate, and I thank you for sharing yourselves here, and I feel I called this a prayer. We are painting a prayer. We are living a prayer of being able to live the teaching of Jesus. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are together here, exploring it with the highest intention. So I salute you all. Thank you so much, and we will meet again.
All right. Hoo-yah.
Hoo-yah.
Oh yeah.
Nice talking to you, Scott.
You too, sir. Appreciate it.
And stay in touch, brother.
All right, I'll do it. You too. Thank you.
Hoo-yah. See
See
ya.
ya.